Maria Pinińska-Bereś is considered one of the pioneers of feminist and ecological art in Poland. But her work exceeds all these definitions. She developed a very original, powerful visual language with which she formulated her own social critique and unique cosmogony based on eros as the vital energy that permeates both human and non-human worlds. Born in 1931, Maria Pinińska-Bereś belonged to a generation that matured in the times of Stalinism and built the artistic identity in opposition to socialist realism on the one hand and to pre-war modern avant-garde on the other. She came from the traditional Catholic family with an aristocratic background, which lifestyle and cultural standards were regarded by her as limiting her freedom as a woman. Her decision to become an artist was a form of emancipation from this oppressive situation. In the 50s, she studied sculpture at the Academy in Krakow, in the studio of Professor Ksawery Dunikowski, who was one of the most important figures of early Polish avant-garde. And her first works were a sort of polemic with his art, and more generally with the tradition of statuatory sculpture, which was revived during Stalinism in countless monuments to communist leaders and heroes. The exhibition, two works of this early period are shown: Rotonda with a chain from 1963 and A Lady with a Bird from 1964. In both, solid, serious, impersonal forms made in concrete are contrasted, or I would say even queered by soft, frivolous materials and elements that are taken from female life, like quilt, comb, necklace, ring, and etc. In the mid-60s, she started a series of works called corsets, in which she referred to woman's existence and social position in a more direct and critical way. A piece entitled Is a Woman a Human Being from 1972 echoes this series and has a strong feminist message. It presents a fashionable swimsuit with the label for the production date and expiry date. This can be read as an open accusation of patriarchal culture that disciplines woman's body and turns it into a commodity whose only raison d'être is to satisfy male desire. Through the series of corsets, Maria Pinińska-Bereś involved her art into open feminist critique, which was continued by a series of works named by her psycho-furnitures. They related to the everyday environment of women and utilized activities traditionally ascribed to women's life, like cleaning, washing, sweeping, cooking, etc. They built a humorous, full of bitter irony narrative about the role ascribed to women by society, as in the Leda's dressing table from 1974, where the man is compared to the god Zeus, and the woman is reduced to the role of its sexual servant. Since the 70s, her work more and more boldly and openly exploits the sphere of eroticism. She uses soft materials and organic forms that allude to female, male, or androgynous sexuality. Usually they are painted pink, and this color became the artist's signature. Pink evokes sexual corporeality, but also as the color of girls' toys and clothes, it is a means of women's socialization. Pinińska-Bereś confronts this cultural connotation, yet more than in social critique, she is interested in manifesting emancipated female desire as a positive, all-encompassing force. This emancipatory moment coincides with her growing fascination with the nature, seen as a realm of joyful, liberated sensuality. In the mid-70s, Maria Pinińska-Bereś begins to make performances, and most of them take place in rural areas. Usually, they are simple and modest actions by means of which she expresses her sense of coexistence and compassion with the world of nature. In 1979, she makes her first portable monument entitled The Place. This very fragile construction, made of poor, flimsy materials, is built by the artist on meadows or on hills, and contrary to traditional monuments, it is not to commemorate heroes or victories, but to pay tribute to the surrounding nature. Instead of being a symbol of domination, this monument is meant to reflect a sense of a new harmony and unity of humans and non-human beings. With time, art of Maria Pinińska-Bereś becomes more and more enigmatic and ambiguous. What remains, however, is a sense of humor that seemed to be for the artist a protection against adversities of woman's life. Maria Pinińska-Bereś died in 1999 at the age of 68. And although she gained some recognition during her life, I think that still her position in the art history is underestimated.